Answer me this. If your son became you, would you be proud? Imagine your son becomes exactly like you. Not the version of you in your head. Not the version people at work see. Not the version you hope you are. Not the version those that have your back think you are. The real version, the raw, unfiltered version. The one who comes home after a tough day. The one who's trying to win at balancing it all. Would you be proud? Or would it expose something that you would rather not look at? Welcome back. This is Answer Me This, part of the Fatherhood in Focus podcast. I'm Aidan, dad, host and founder of the Modern Fatherhood Club. Every week, I aim to ask you one uncomfortable question, not to shame you, but to sharpen you. Because this is about legacy, impact, and the man that your kids actually see when you walk into that room. You see, the world is happy for you to just cope. We're here to help you choose how you show up, how you lead, and how you love. Before we dive in, if you haven't already, subscribe to the podcast, and if you're watching on YouTube, hit subscribe there too. And if you haven't already, head over to themodernfatherhoodclub.com and grab some of our free resources, because they're built to support you from those early messy days right through to the years when they're shouting at you from across the room. All right, take a breath. This week's question is going to test you. Let's get into it. This is the challenge, right, that we face as fathers. Legacy isn't what you leave behind. Legacy is what continues after you're gone. Legacy becomes their blueprint for life, for success, for love, for connection. And whether you realize it or not, it's already happening. It's framed by every conversation, every moment where you're listening but not hearing what's actually said. It's shaped by the way that you respond when they need you most, by how you pick them up when they fall, in the words that sometimes get the best of you when the chaos is only made worse by their failure to listen, comply, or care about how you might be feeling in that moment. It's created by every "I'll do it in a minute," or "just give me a second," or "not right now, I've got this to do," or "can't you see that daddy's busy?" Your role is clear, but it's defined by how you show up, how they see you, and how you grow into the man that they need. This might be the most difficult question I ever asked myself. Not because I dislike who I am, not because I'm ashamed of the life that I've built, but because becoming me means inheriting more than my strengths. It means inheriting my struggles too, my fears, my habits, my blind spots, those weaknesses that I'd once said I'd address. It's how I communicate what I'm feeling. It's my relationship with pressure, my relationship with success, my relationship with myself. It's how I conduct myself around them and others. It's how I love. It's the pride I feel for my achievements. It's being composed when things get uncomfortable. And that's where this question gets uncomfortable. If my boys became me, there'd be things I'd be incredibly proud of. They'd care deeply. They'd love fiercely, be fiercely loyal to friends and family. They'd show up. They'd work hard. They'd keep going even when the things that they were doing were difficult. They'd stand by the people they loved. They'd be loyal, resilient, determined, proud, prepared to try, prepared to fail, prepared to start again. And I'd be proud of every one of those things. But that's only half the truth. Because if they became me, while they'd probably carry too much alone, they'd protect what matters, even if it means pushing too hard. They'd be men of principle, clear communicators, conscientious, caring, and focused on those they love. They'd probably convince themselves that they could handle it. They'd probably stay quiet when they should speak. They'd probably hold people at a distance when things became heavy. And that worries me. Because at my lowest point, well, that's exactly what I did. I relied on the blind spots to keep people at a distance, to protect them. But deep down, Well, I thought I was protecting myself from the shame, the judgment, from the opinions of those that wouldn't understand. And this is the balance you and I need to strike. We're shaping our children's futures through action, inaction, wins and losses, how we speak, and how we conceal who we really are. This is where you need to be clear, not just on your role, but the influence the world outside is having on how you show up in theirs. If you're restless, distracted, even just tired, they're going to see it. When they're young, they're not going to understand it, but they will feel it, they'll absorb it. And maybe in the future, when they're old enough to, well, they're going to question it. They'll believe something about dad you never intended for them to feel or see. So picture your son, 25 years old, standing in front of a mirror, facing a challenge, a breakup, a redundancy, a loss, a failure, a moment that tests him. A moment where he needs to muster up the strength to carry on, to fight. Because it's overcoming this challenge that's going to build his confidence, resilience and pride. At that time, whose voice does he hear? Is it yours or his own? And if it is yours, what is that voice saying? Is it saying, "You've got this, son. I believe in you"? Or "Don't worry. This is how we learn, grow and adapt"? Perhaps even this setback is going to be one of many, but you have the ability, the strengths and the experience to see beyond this. Or will it be, "Come on, pull yourself together, grow up, this isn't good enough"? Look, both are going to define his next action. One will build his confidence, one will push him to internalize the emotion and stack it until one day he collapses under that pressure. Look, our children do need a firm approach at times. We can't save them, we can't step in and undermine their thought process and solve the problem. We must allow them to think for themselves, to see and feel the adversity, the pressure, the hardship. In those moments, they'll quietly build the strength and resilience needed to forge a path through the storm. They'll recognize what they're capable of and see that every test is a lesson that helps them move forward with confidence. My dad, even to this day, won't give me the answer to a challenge. When I've experienced loss, self-doubt, failure, he's never fixed. He's challenged me to solve the problem. Not in a way that doesn't feel supportive, but in a way that shows he's listened. But he's also challenging me to find the right answer. And I think it's that approach, even in my darkest days, that helped me to see the error in my approach and evaluate what really mattered. And as dads, I firmly believe we need to give our children the tools to succeed, the tools to learn from the mistakes without taking the hit and losing everything. So let me ask you something. If your child copied your relationship with stress, would that help them? If they copied your relationship with work, would that help them? If they copied your relationship with rest, would that help them grow? If they copied the way that you handle disappointment, would that help them? And here's the question that hit me hardest. If they copied the way you speak to yourself, what sort of person would they become? You see, at my core, I'm an overthinker, and I always have been. Beneath the surface, the cogs are constantly in motion. And those cogs, well, they've been conditioned over time to help me, and at times, well, they've hindered me too. The problem, as I see it, is this. If the cogs are turning and you're quietly contemplating that next move, what and who do they see? Now, they don't need to understand every move or the decision-making process you adopt, but when you feel the pressure or you make a mistake, you need to be able to move out of your head and back into that room. Because if you don't, they see a distracted dad and they connect distant dad with hard work, stress, pressure, frustration. They don't see you rested. They see you exhausted. They see a quiet, reserved version of you when they need to see you vibrant, loud, and ready to play, to laugh, and to enjoy their company. I don't believe children become what we teach. They become what we model, and they model what they see. And that's a completely different responsibility. That's where the accountability sits firmly, with you and I. For years, I thought my role was to teach, to guide, to advise, to explain, to protect. But children learn something else first. They learn us. They learn our tone, our reactions, our habits, our fears, our confidence, our energy, our body language on show, our fatigue levels, the way we walk into the room they're in, the way we handle pressure, the way we recover when things go wrong. And that's where this question gets a little bit more uncomfortable. Because I don't want my boys to inherit my silence. I don't want them to inherit the belief that strength means carrying everything alone. I don't want them to believe that the pressure should be endured in isolation. But I also don't want them to become experts at surviving while struggling to connect. Because resilience matters. But resilience without connection, well, that becomes isolation. And isolation disguised as strength, well, it nearly cost me everything. And that's a line that many of us cross. Protect at all costs. Deliver when it matters. Focus on everyone but you. Burn out because it's your duty to push on. But your children don't need this burned out, frustrated, isolated shell of a man. They need a dad who recognizes the importance of his role in shaping the future of his kids. Not just the financial stability of their future, or the creation of opportunities that you didn't have, but the emotional strength, the resilience, the self-esteem, confidence, and pride that is needed to take on and adapt to life's challenges. What I want for my boys isn't perfection. I don't want them to become better versions of me. I want them to become better versions of themselves. I want them to trust themselves, because trust is a big part. Trust builds confidence. It builds strength and resilience. It also allows them to understand their worth, their place in the world, to respect themselves and, frankly, their progress. To understand that peace is not always found in achievement, that happiness isn't just waiting at the next milestone, that confidence is born from within. I want them to know that they don't have to earn love, that they don't have to perform for acceptance, that they don't have to become someone else to belong. Because for their entire lives, the world is going to tell them who they should be. My job is to help them remember who they already are and who they are capable of becoming. The older I get, the more I realize fatherhood isn't about creating copies. It's about creating confidence. It's about giving them roots strong enough to stand on their own and wings strong enough to leave when it's the right time. It's about helping them build a relationship with themselves that's stronger than the pressure they're going to face. It's about showing them that mistakes don't define them. Failure doesn't define them. Success doesn't define them. Character does. Integrity does. The way they treat people does. The way they recover, that shapes them. The way they love shapes their interactions with themselves and others. And the only way they're going to learn that is if they see it here first, if they see it in me. One day, your children are going to stop listening to your advice. But they're not going to stop living your example. One day, they're going to have to pick up the pieces after failure or loss. One day, they're going to have to repair where they've made a mistake and hurt someone they loved. So answer me this. If your child became exactly who you are today, would you be proud? Not of your achievements, not of your career, not of your income, of your habits, your relationships, your mindset, your emotional life, the way you love, the way you lead, the way you live, the way you show up in the good times and the bad. Because the answer to that question, well, it tells you everything you need to know about the work that you and I still have to do. So this is where I'm going to push you that little bit harder. Don't ask, would I be proud if my boys became me? I want you to ask this. What part of me do I desperately hope they inherit? And then ask, what part of me am I praying they never have to carry? And then there's one final one. Am I actively changing any of this today? Or am I hoping that they somehow avoid it? And that's the question, right? That's the one that's going to help shape the men your boys become. That will be your legacy. Will they carry the weight, or will they inherit what truly matters? Self-worth, confidence, self-belief, a willingness to be strong but vulnerable, a willingness to be open, not closed, a willingness to try no matter the pressure or the struggle, a willingness to teach the way that you chose to. The way we show up in our children's lives is a choice. The way we let the world shape how they see us is a choice too. So choose wisely, choose intention, choose openness, choose love. And if you do, they'll find their path and they'll show up just how you do. Thank you. Look, I'm here because I lost sight of what was important and it almost cost me everything. But that challenging time taught me one thing: duty. It taught me to live aligned to the things that matter and to never overlook the small stuff and my impact on their world. I've made plenty of mistakes. I've missed moments to connect, but I'm not letting them define me. Remember, your kids don't need a dad who's got it all figured out. They need a dad who's willing to look in that mirror and keep becoming. So if you're here, if you're scrolling between pressure and exhaustion and something inside you whispers, I'm worth more than this, my friend, you're in the right place. This is where we talk about what matters. This is where you answer the questions that keep you up at night. This is where you get to the truth, not just about what it means to be their dad, but what it takes to become the father they will never forget. As always, write it down, dive into the detail, create something so powerful and unique that you cannot wake up and not move toward it. Remember, you're working to create the version of dad that they need to see. Because if you get it right, they'll live how you lived, love how you loved, listen just as you do, prioritize how you did, show up in the lives of those they love the most, just like you. And this is the role of the modern dad, right? Stability, strength, passion, perseverance, pride, and above everything, love. Okay, so some testing questions this week, but you've just spent a few minutes doing what most of us avoid: slowing down, being honest, and looking at how you are really showing up. And my friend, that matters. It matters more than you know. Your kids don't need a perfect man, just an honest one. A man who's willing to reflect, reset, and lead from the front even when he's tired, under pressure, or coping more than he'd like to admit. If this episode landed for you, subscribe to the podcast. And if you're watching on YouTube, hit subscribe there too, so that you don't miss any of our future episodes. And if you haven't yet, come and join us at themodernfatherhoodclub.com. There you're going to find free resources and reflection questions, the ultimate new dad toolkit for those of you expecting a baby, the new dad recharge course for those of you that are ready to realign your energy and your priorities. And there's going to be details on our upcoming antenatal course for new and expectant dads. Look, I'm not perfect, neither are you, but we are committed to leading with confidence, strength, openness, and heart. Committed to giving our children the version of us that needs to be present, not just productive. Thank you for listening, for reflecting, and for doing the work. This is the Modern Fatherhood Club. This is Answer Me This, part of the Fatherhood in Focus podcast. Lead from the front. Never underestimate the power you have over who they become, and I'll see you in the next episode.